I own an apartment building in one of the poshest areas in my city. I, too, live by myself in the same building as it is close to my office. This incident happened around 2005. One day, my assistant informed me that my neighbors have moved elsewhere and that they were renting the apartment to her sister's friend. If you know me, I hardly ever talk to my neighbors. I'm mostly busy with work, and when I am not working, I like to go on trips. It's just not my thing to socialize. Still, I was very fond of my old neighbors. The family was very kind to me and asked me to join them for dinner every now and then. I hadn't really been in touch with them for the past few months, but they sent me dishes and Tupperware every now and then. Before they left, I bought some parting gifts for the kids and the parents. It was sad to hear they were moving. Fast forward a few weeks later, I hear a noise outside. A woman complaining and scolding someone. I sneaked a peek through my door and saw a blonde-haired woman in her early 40s or so. A typical Karen, as one would assume. She even had the hairstyle to match her attitude. A few movers in black uniforms surrounded her. The woman kept shouting in a very loud voice and looking visibly frustrated. The workers were giving each other an annoyed look. Anyone could see that she enjoyed talking down to them. Even if she was frustrated, she was being undeniably rude. I closed my door because I didn't want to hear her voice anymore. If I called her out, I would have been in the middle of it all. I might say my piece and go back to the comfort of my house, but I knew she would chew out the workers later. It was evident that my neighbor would certainly prove to be a headache eventually. As I predicted, I didn't have to wait for too long. The day had come when I finally had my first encounter with Karen. I was returning from my Tokyo trip after 2 weeks. I was tired and jet-lagged from sitting in the same place for the last 14 hours. I didn't have the energy to deal with anyone. My body just wanted a bit of sleep and some ice cream later. I was daydreaming about the perfect way to blow off some steam. Of course, it was my bad luck that the first person who gets inside the elevator with me is my new neighbor. She was behind me and I hadn't noticed her at all. I cursed myself for being too involved with daydreaming. If I knew, I would have taken another elevator or waited for a bit. If I got out of the elevator suddenly, it would be rude. She was with her kid who was on the verge of crying. He should have been around 5 years old or so. His mother kept giving him a frosty look and squinting her eyes, signaling him to stop. I pressed the button. She asked, "Oh, are you on the same floor as us? 15th floor?" I just nodded. "How did you get to work here? Where are you from?" Now, did I mention that I am brown-skinned? My parents were born and brought up in the USA itself, and I was second-generation USian. This was a question that I was asked the most. Of course I didn't reply. I knew that this wasn't the only question. If I answer, 1,000 more will follow. I waited for the lift to open and got out quickly. The next few days, I tried to avoid my neighbor as much as I could. I saw her standing in front of the door a few times. I guess she was trying to be friends with her neighbor. Too bad. Every time I saw her, I quickly closed the elevator and went to a friend's house. It wasn't that I didn't want to give this woman a chance, but I knew that it wouldn't be a pleasant experience around her. I just wanted to live how I was living before, calmly and unbothered. But sadly, my peace didn't last too long. I was coming home from the office after a long day. I was standing in the hallway when I saw my neighbor getting out of the lift. This was my bad luck. I stared on the ground and pretended to be lost in thought. "Oh, are you coming from somewhere?" she asked. I didn't answer. She poked me, out of the blue. I knew there was no getting out of it, so I surrendered. I nodded in agreement. I just wanted to slip in my bed. It was no time for small talk. Why did someone hire a dumb like you? Can you even speak? For a second, I didn't understand what she was saying. She was crass, to say the least. I had completely ignored her first question during our first encounter. I was so shocked by her lack of sensitivity that time. But right now, I was fully present. Hired? What did she mean by hired? Then I looked at her face and realized that she thought I was a maid or servant. I had never given her the slightest hint that I was a maid. We had met twice, In both times I was dressed quite nicely. I was even wearing an expensive dress right now. She took it upon herself to assume that I was a maid. The lady spoke again. Don't you think you shouldn't show your face here? I mean, it's not exactly a place for people like you. Just imagine sharing an elevator with a maid is embarrassing, don't you think? She stood in front of the only elevator that was empty. The other elevator was being used by movers. Someone was shifting on the third floor. I sighed and simply said, "Will you please move?" I saw the look of absolute disgust in the woman's face. She was shooting daggers at me. "Oh, so you can talk. Were you trying to ignore me? Do you not know what I can do?" I was in a pinch. Should I just wait for her to leave or should I use the staircase? I lived on the 7th floor, and anything would be less excruciating than waiting for the lady to move. I turned and started walking towards the staircase. "Hey, you!" I heard her shouting from behind. "Are you ignoring me?" I was just about to turn around and tell her that she was wrong about me, and that I owned the building when something hit my body. The woman was smiling with a pail in her hand. A janitor stood behind her, looking mortified. I felt the stench of dirty water on me. My clothes, my face, my briefcase were all wet. I took a handkerchief from my purse and wiped my face. Karen was giggling, proud of what she had just done. It was like a bad soap opera, and I was in the middle of it, unwilling. I would be shocked if it was happening to someone else. But it wasn't exactly unbelievable. People were getting bolder each day, bothering everyone else in the name of freedom. Now, you should know that a lowly maid like you shouldn't talk back to me. You shouldn't ever show your face or let anyone hear you speak. We pay a lot of money for this place, you know? We want our kids to have a great future. We don't want to see poor people like you insulting us in our face. I was shocked by her behavior. I didn't know anyone could be this vile, but what else can you expect from a rich Karen? I wanted to say something, but I was too distracted to think properly. I turned and headed to the stairway. The next day, I called my old neighbors and told them about the incident. They were surprised and greatly upset. They kept apologizing, even when they didn't need to. I simply asked them to send an eviction notice. There was no way I was going to let her bully anyone in the building. A week later, I heard my doorbell ringing multiple times. I open and see Karen. Not really a surprise. I've been expecting her. I asked her what she wanted, and she curtly replied that she would only talk to the owner. Of course she would. I tell her she has to first talk to me, and she pushes me against the wall and barges inside without permission. Normally, I would have punched her by now. I calmly ask, almost nonchalantly, what she thought she was doing. Her mouth was wide open, and she was admiring my living room. I had enough of her already. She sits on the couch and asks with a wide smile where the owner was. I tell her to get out instantly. "You shouldn't talk to me like that. I'm going to be good friends with her and get you fired, you know?" Then she proceeds to ask why I was wearing casual clothes in my own home. I ask her why she was at my house, and she begins yelling that she was being thrown out suddenly without a good reason. She goes on and on about how it was the best location, how her kid's school was close by, how convenient it was for her husband to get to work. I find an eviction notice out of the blue? Why? Is it because of you? Certainly you snitched on me. Just wait how I will get you fired. I wait for her to finish her babbling. When she's done, I point at me and announce that I was the owner. I see her angry face shrinking slowly as she realizes what she has done. She looks baffled. I am the owner of the building, I declare once more. The one you assumed was poor and a maid because of the way I looked. The one you threw dirty water on. The one you insulted. It's all me. And we have it on CCTV. She immediately starts crying and apologizing. She makes 100 excuses why she thought so, and why her behavior wasn't entirely wrong. Then she goes on and on about how it was wrongful eviction, and how she would sue me for doing this to her. I had already consulted my lawyer, and we weren't doing anything illegal, so I was confident about my case. I sit on my couch and hear her bullcrap, and then I ask her to get out of my house and start looking for a new home. For the next few days, I got multiple sorry notes and calls from her husband. I didn't reply. Eventually, it stopped. A month or two later, I am informed that they finally left but caused a ruckus on their way out, telling everyone how they would make me pay for what I had done to them. They didn't, in case you were wondering. I later came to know that they were thrown out of their previous neighborhood for harassing the neighbors and their kids. Nothing surprising there. I saw another post about people being weird about kids and thought y'all might enjoy this. Standard heads up about being on mobile formatting, etc. Earlier this week, I took my toddler son, a 3-year-old, to the local supercenter for a grocery run. He loves going and really loves interacting with people, which is perfect because it makes store runs easier since he enjoys it. Let me start by saying he looks nothing like me, to the point that had he not been in the room with me the entire time after giving birth to him, I might wonder about being switched out for another kid. He's extremely fair-skinned, blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm pale but not quite as translucent as he is. Dark hair, dark eyes. So we're walking around and picking up what's needed, and a woman, I won't say Karen necessarily, but we'll call her Barbara, older, mid-60s maybe, grandmotherly, starts talking to him. "Hi, sweetie. Are you having fun with Auntie tonight? I bet your mama is enjoying her night off." I'm not offended because this isn't the first time I've gotten this, so I just smile and say, "I'm actually Mom. We're just running some errands and having fun." Barb. "Oh, that's a boy? What pretty hair. But you can't be a mom. He doesn't look like you." Me, still smiling. "Oh, trust me, I know. He's definitely mine." Barb. "He's adopted then. He's not yours." Me, confused now. "He's definitely mine. I pushed him out, pretty sure I'd know." Barb frowns. "Then you're to blame for his hair being like that? He looks like a girl." My son has long hair. It's past his shoulders to the middle of his back. It's beautiful and healthy and absolutely gorgeous. If he asks me to cut it, I will, but until then, I'm letting myself enjoy it. I myself have very short hair, in a faux hawk style. I should have obviously walked away, but this is a hill for me to die on, and I've had a lot of arguments about his hair with complete strangers, so this is a topic I'm ready to throw down on. It's pulled back when it's hot out, like this night, and to keep it out of his face. Me. I like his hair. It's too pretty to cut. If he wants to cut it, he'll tell me and we'll get it cut. Until then, I'm letting it roll. Barb. He looks like a girl. Girls have long hair and boys have short hair. I run my hands through my spiked up hawk, kind of rub the back of my head where it's taken down to a 2. Really? What does that make me? At this point, she took her cart and walked away with one more, "He looks like a girl and you're making him look like a girl." I wish I knew what it was about kids that make people so weird. The whole time, he was playing with his monster truck toy we picked up. But when she walked away, he waved happily and gave a nice little bye. It really grinds my gears when people throw this whole boys have short hair thing around. If boys were meant to have short hair, it would simply stop growing. It's just hair. My boy has hair down past his shoulder blades. He loves it. He's 8, so more than capable of asking for it to be cut. But every time we go to get a haircut, he always asks for just a little bit, please. I've had endless arguments with my old school family, strangers calling him a girl. He proudly says, "I'm a boy with long hair," and walks away. It's none of anybody's business. Well done for standing your ground. I'll happily die on that hill with you. When I was working at a 24/7 restaurant and pub during one of my overnight shifts, someone called in sick for the first AM shift. Then my boyfriend of the girl who was supposed to have the second AM shift calls in too. Now, on slow days, there's only one of us waitressing. The kitchen manager, caused the 2 managers and the owners were on vacation together with the family, so kitchen manager is the only one there. Tries his hardest to get someone in and can't. So, feeling bad because the guy was in tears and wanted to go home to his new baby, I said I'd cover the shifts. He's grateful and leaves. So, no manager here now, and 2 hours before the overnight waiter was supposed to arrive, he called in sick. Now, I know this witch and he's just drunk. I call around to everyone and there's no one answering. So now I can't leave even if I wanted to. So I'm stuck working the overnight shift as well. Guess what happens next? If you're guessing that the both morning and afternoon waitresses called in sick because they had been out drinking and were hungover, you'd be right. Kitchen manager starts trying to find someone, but he can't because they were ignoring his calls. So I'm stuck for another day. At this point, my brain is gone. It's jelly, I can't walk right, I'm dizzy, I haven't stopped since I came in at 6 2 days ago. Kitchen manager leaves for the day and tells me, don't worry about it, bar prep. Don't worry about stocking, just sit here and when overnight shows up, tell him that given the circumstances that they'll have to deal with it tonight. Especially considering I saw his butt at a bar when I was driving home, this is the third different person. Those same 3 were buddies and decided to go party instead. So that's what I do. I sit because I hurt and I'm tired and I'm angry that people freaking suck so bad. Then he arrives. Andrew. I can leave. Hurrah, yeah? Nah. A. Stock up isn't done. Nothing's done. Me. Yep, because I was told I didn't have to. I've been here for literally days because you and your gang wanted to frick around. Manager said to leave it for you. When staff would come in and eat, the bill would just have to be passed from waiter to waitress until management came in. He has to take it off my screen through his screen. I can't push it through to him from my side. Me. Take this bill, I'm going home. A. No. The fight went on for 40 minutes. While he called the manager with the new baby and woke the manager and the baby, was told that I would not be doing stocking or anything for him, and to take the damn bill off my screen so I could clock out, and that they had something serious to talk about tomorrow anyway. Remember, the manager saw them all drinking and had another far as he drove by. A. Hang up. I'll take it when you finish your job. Completely disregarding that he had just been told. Me. I can promise you're gonna be in crap tomorrow. Promise that. I cashed out. Made sure KM knew why the counts and cash were gonna be all effed up now. Because you still hadn't taken that order that was supposed to be removed from a proper manager because that was supposed to be done. Took my excessive crazy tips because when most people heard how long I had been there working, they tipped really well. Andrew got fired for skipping work to party with those 2 day shifters who had called in sick twice in a row. For refusing to do what a manager had told him to do in a message that was delivered by me. For calling a manager with a new baby late at night to complain about the orders that had been given. And then for refusing to follow the manager's rules after he directly gave them to him. I made about $600 in tips during those hours I was working. Plus, once the main manager got back, she gave me $1,000 for doing so well while she was away. So it ended well for me. I'm sorry that you had to go through all that. Sounds like your main manager appreciated what you did to keep the business running, and hopefully she'll get rid of the deadweight and hire more responsible staff. I commend you for sticking it out.